Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's all about you. Today's topic is about a silk press. How to achieve a great silk press. Now we're going to start by talking about the things that you will have to get your hair in a great condition to have a great silk press. I have my notes and we're going to get to talking about why maybe your silk press is not coming out how you would like it to. Okay? Now, one of the first things I want to talk about is we have to start off with the actual condition of the hair. If the hair is lacking moisture or if the hair has too much moisture, there could be a problem with having a great silk press. You really have to have a moisture balance. It has to have a good balance of moisture and protein. Okay, with protein to make the hair strong, moisture to give it luster and softness. Okay, now if you're lacking that, then your silk press is probably not going to come out how you would like it to. Okay, let me see. One other issues is hair weathering. Now, what is hair weathering? Now, I think the term comes from where people who are natural and they put a lot of moisture in their hair. They're using a lot of puddings. They're using a lot of oils. And they use it and they leave it in their hair for a long time. Okay? Excessively long time. Maybe they're doing twists or maybe they're doing a lot of wash and goes. And what happens with the hair is that it becomes too soft. It comes too soft and it starts to tear and rip, and all along the cuticles of the hair they're raised, because think about it, it's soaked in moisture, oil, puddings all the time. I suggest that if you are a natural, what you should do is probably do more dry styles. You know, if you do a twist out, let it dry, you know, and wear it for about a week or two if you can, so that your hair is not continuously damp and wet. Because what I've been seeing in the salon is that people are coming in with their hair weathered from it. The hair has been in oils and puddings constantly, never allowing your hair to dry out. And that is what now we're calling hair weathering. So when your hair is like that and then you do come in and try to get a silk press, your hair is not going to silk out properly because it's basically damaged from too much moisture, you know, moisture overload. And so and it makes the hair, again, like I said, very frayed. So, you know, think about allowing your hair to dry out and doing more styles that where your hair is not constantly wet or damp. Okay. Another issue is hair being too dry. You really have to find a oil or a moisturizer that works for your hair. If your hair is excessively dry, it's not good to even put heat to it, because it's like lighting a match, you know, to your hair. You really have to try to create a balance between moisture and protein strength, okay, in your hair. And that way, again, you will be able to create a great platform for getting a great silk press. Okay, another issue is sometimes the hair is previously damaged from over flat ironing, excessive heat. It can be damaged from color. Sometimes I've gotten clients that come in and they have heat damage on their hair. And again, I would tell people heat damage and heat trained hair is completely different. When your hair is heat damaged, it will not hold a curl. It will not flat iron. It's dead, basically. Heat trained hair, you can still sick it out. You can still curl it. You can still flat iron it straight and silky. It's still able to, it still has its elasticity. But if it's heat damaged, then you cannot do that with your hair. And I've seen that a lot with ladies coming in with heat damaged hair, where they're using a flat iron too much, or the flat iron has been used on their hair excessively. So if it's like that, most of the time you are not going to achieve a good silk press. At this point, you need to trim off the damage and start treating the hair. And as the hair grows out, eventually you trimmed it all off that's damaged, and you will then start to achieve a better silk press. Okay, let's see what's next. Protein overload. Now, protein overload in the hair causes the hair to be very brittle and very rough to the feel. The protein is just sitting on top of the hair. It has made the hair very rough in feel. And that also, again, can cause you not to have a great silk press. So we've talked about moisture overload. We've talked about protein overload. We've talked about hair weathering, where it has too much moisture or oils that's sitting in the hair, which is causing the hair to be very brittle as well, and very spongy, if that's the term I could say. Very spongy. The hair has so much moisture that it starts to deteriorate the hair strand. It becomes spongy. Too much elasticity, and too much elasticity can cause breakage, which cause for not to be able to achieve a good silk press. Okay. Another thing I wanted to mention is, when you want a good silk press, you have to consider the condition of your hair. If you know that you may need a trim, or you know that you have damage from hair color, then you know you may not achieve a good silk press. And maybe it's not a good idea to even try to get a silk press until you have gotten your hair in a better condition. A lot of times I see the young ladies come in and they're natural, and they feel that, they haven't put any chemicals, not even color, on their hair, but their practices of putting too much moisture in their hair, their practice of not getting their ends trimmed. Yes, a trim. And sometimes it has to be a cut, because I think a trim is less than half an inch or an inch. Anything over an inch is a haircut. Yeah. So sometimes they come in and haven't gotten a cut or a trim in over a year or 6 months. And they have at least, I would say, at least 3 inches need to come off, because they haven't gotten a trim. What happens is the hair starts to thin out on the ends. And if you get your trims on a regular basis, the hair continues to stay thick all throughout the strands. But when you don't, then, you have to cut more hair off. So it's most likely, if you get your trims, you don't have to trim as often. I say maybe twice a year, every 4 months or every 6 months you get your trim. Let's see what else I have down here. Have a schedule. Have a schedule for your trims. Have a schedule for your treatments of your hair. Even in between your braids, have a schedule that when you take your braids out, you're going to take time and you're going to treat your hair. Because I see a lot of young ladies coming in and they've had braids in for quite some time, and during that time, they wasn't able to treat their hair, and now they just want a silk press and think their hair is going to silk out because they've had their braids in. They feel that they gave it a rest, but you have not been able to treat your hair. And now your hair is not going to silk out if you have at least 2 inches of split ends. It won't move. It won't flow like you would like it to do because the ends need to come off and they need to be trimmed. So I know it can be very heartbreaking when you come in, you're excited for your silk press, and your hair is not doing what you want it to do because you have not maintained properly. Okay? So let's work on that, and that way we can achieve great silk presses. One last thing. When you are going in and you're getting these styles, even if it's braids or crochet or, your so-called protective style, make sure that these styles are not taken away from the integrity of your hair. Because what's the point of getting a style temporarily and you keep it in for maybe a month, maybe a few weeks, but yet when you take it out, your hair is not in great condition because you did not do previously treating to the hair before you got it braided. And sometimes I see a lot of ladies, they're getting these tighter braids. They're getting these styles, and it's damaging the integrity of their hair. So when they take the braids out and think they're going to have a great silk press, sometimes in the back of the hair is broke off. Sometimes the stylist, cuts the hair, or the braid is too tight and now the hair is broken off and she wants this beautiful silk press and she's got all this damage. So please keep that in mind about what kind of braids and styles that you're getting before you get them, and then think about after you take them off, the condition of your hair before you go and try and get a silk press, because you're not going to be able to achieve a great silk press with weathered hair, with moisture overload, protein overload, and bad ends. You're not going to be able to achieve it. So keep that in mind. So your expectations of what your hair is going to look like when you go in can be met if your hair is in great condition. Okay? Thank you so much. And thank you for visiting. It's all about you. And you have a great day.